I swear, man, in this time of crisis, this is where you really want to be holding on to your spiritual beliefs. Welcome back to In Pursuit of Purpose podcast. Family, you know what it is. You know who it is. Must I say my name? Out of respect, I'll save that for another time. I can promise you, we just not gonna stop. The show is just gonna keep growing and growing and growing. We expanding, we exploding. In Pursuit of Purpose podcast taking over. Get used to it. Get used to it. What's up, family? How y'all doing out there? It's another episode of In Pursuit of Purpose podcast with your host, Obing. You can call me Marcus if you decide to, but I may not answer. Don't get mad at me if I don't. Anyhow, this show is going to be epic. Another classic I lay down right here for you. I am bringing to the platform all the way from the other side of the world. Can you believe? All the way from the other side of the world, as I explained. I am bringing to the platform from the motherland, South Africa, the land of Nelson Mandela, the apartheid. I am bringing Nomthandazo Mhlungu. I'm not going to even try to attempt to say her last name because she is full-blown African with a full-blown African name. So to try and attempt her last name is going to be just ridiculously funny on my end. So let me do it. Nomthandazo Mhlungu. Mhlungu. I'm so sorry I messed that up. I thought it was kind of funny to try, so I did. But nonetheless, she'll get it right. She knows her name better than I can say it. So I'm going to be bringing to the show Nomthandazo, all the way from South Africa. She is what you would call a spiritual and certified holistic life coach. Now, title of today's show is Embracing Our Spirituality in Times of Crisis. This is season 2, episode 8. Whew, man, I just took a deep breath on that one because we are nearing the end. And that's okay. That's a good sign. So I just want to bring you to Nomthandazo from South Africa. Listen, this show is brought to you by way of my website. You can go check out my website at www.sweatforsuccess.wix.com/my site. Now, when you spell sweat, you must take the A out. So spell sweat for success without the A in sweat. Okay? I know that's what I've been explaining to people for years and years and years, but some people still can't find my site. So go to www.sweatforsuccess.wix.com/my site. You can go there and you can get all of the services you may need. Go order my recent book I did, Breaking Out, Escape the Fear of Failure. It's becoming a hit. Go get that. And also just go there, look around and see if you need something that you desire to be more of and develop yourself in a more positive way. Then my site is a site for you. www.sweatforsuccess.wix.com/my site. All right. Let me bring on Nomthandazo so she can introduce us to a more holistic African approach to embracing our spirituality. See you on the other side. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to In Pursuit of Purpose podcast. I am your host, Obing. Some of you know me as Marcus. This is my birth name, so You feel comfortable, call me that. That's okay. Right? So I am here with another guest. I have the privilege, the honor, the opportunity, the luxury to be sitting here today with another healer, all the way from the other side of the planet, all the way from the Eastern world, of which I live in the Western world. And we have today with me none other than certified spiritual holistic life coach, Nomthandazo Mhlungu. Is that how you say that?
You
Mhlunga.
almost got it there.
Almost.
You got to play with the tongue. They go Mhlungu, but you got it good.
Say your whole name for me.
It's you play with your tongue there, like you're just smashing something. Mhlungu.
Mhlungu. Oh wow.
Mhlungu,
Mhlungu. Mhlungu. So it's that's funny, right? And I'll never get that question. I wish I knew how to speak, that language. What is your how do you say your name, number one? How do you say your whole name?
My name is Nomthandazo. My
Nomthandazo.
birth name, Nomthandazo. It is meaning mother of prayer. It is a name given to me by my grandmother. My birth name is Nomonde, meaning mother of grace.
Mother of grace. Oh, wow. Wow. This is nice. Yeah. Wow. Well, I am honored to have you on the show.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I'm honored. Thank you for the collaboration. Like you say, the West meets the East. Yes. We are one. I believe in unity. Our spirit somehow makes things happen, that we become unified. Damn. That is the point of spirit, after all. So thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. I'm privileged. And first, I just want to start by opening up the show with getting into a little bit of what you do before we go in too deep, because I want the audience to get a taste or a feel for the work that this is what we're going to go into, but I want the audience to get a feel for the taste for the work and how you do it over in Africa, because let's make no mistake about it. You are in Africa, and I'm speaking to her from Africa. Well, I'm not speaking from Africa. She's speaking from Africa, but I am speaking to someone in Africa. And to me, this is like blowing my mind, because I'm connecting on the other side of the world right now. Like, this is really happening. This is really happening. Like, oh my gosh, I feel great about this.
We're connecting from South Africa.
Yes, this is beautiful. I'm just
all the way from South Africa to the US. That's how it is.
I'm just like giddy
over
here.
Thank you, Marcus. Let me tell you, a bit about what I do is I'm a spiritual life coach, and exactly that. My journey to being a life coach started with me having to understand my Africanness, the true essence of who I am. I am someone who grew up in corporate, basically. As a corporate individual, I'm an engineer. But life had its way where I found myself deep in initiation, as what we call in our side of the world, ubungoma or uktwasa. Now, that brought a lot of, it was my awakening. It was my awakening to true sense. And a lot of people go through awakenings, and I have found in my research in very similar ways. Mine might have included what, when I speak about Ubungoma, I'm speaking about what people in the West might understand as being a shaman. And that's where my journey started off. And when we speak about life coaching or spiritual life coaching, for me, I say, everyone's got a different opinion or definition of what spirit is or spirituality. For me, I say spirituality is connecting with your inner strength. It is taking you back to the roots of who you are and reminding you of your core purpose. And however it is, I say, call it in your language, call it how you understand it. The Red Indians might have a different language, and I'm sorry, I don't know if that's the correct term in that country. I don't want to be derogatory to anyone, but we each have different terms, and I believe that we see things differently because we have different perceptions, but we speak one language. When you speak about spirit and good spirit, when we speak about the spirit of unity, the spirit of light, it is a unifier, regardless of what language you speak, regardless of who you see your Messiah to be. You might call your Messiah Jesus. I might call my Messiah Shembe. The next person might call their Messiah Moses, Buddha, etc., etc. However it is that you connect with your true essence, with your true inner strength, for me speaks to spirit. And it is, and I'm so glad that we are under confinement right now in our country. We're going through COVID-19 in respect to try and restrict the spread of COVID-19. We're in a national lockdown. And what this does from a spiritual perspective for me is call each person to themselves. It's not about, can I go to church and see my pastor? Can I go see what do we call them?
The priest,
A leader.
the teachers, yep.
It's, for me, the most beautiful teacher is self. It's your inner voice. And I think that's what this time is allowing most people to do. It is to appreciate the small things. It's to go back to the quietness of self without the busyness. So for me, I really believe this is a blessed time.
Yes.
So in short, what do? I believe I help people find their inner strength. I help bring them back to who they are.
Yes. That's very strong. That was a very strong opening to and very knowledgeable, very in depth. And as a bunch of shamans that I know over here, the work and as far as what you do and what they do here is not really much different, because I think, like you said, the spirit is our greatest, inner strength. And that's what I believe people are trying to get, like shamans and holistic teachers are trying to get, their students or their clients or their, whoever they're training, to get back to that knowing that you are your greatest teacher, that knowing that you are your greatest, highest possibility for a great life here. And yeah, COVID-19 is stopping a lot of us from being able to run to our pastors and run to our spiritual leaders and run to our teachers and guides and all of that, and it's making us deal with ourselves. Let me ask you something. Do you have a practice of like meditation or something that you do to tap in? How do you tap into that higher source of yourself? What do you do to stay in aligned with that?
Yes. So I love that. I'm just going to touch on what you were saying before, and I'll answer your question. I believe that a lot of us are trying to find answers for our lives, and we, from a spiritual perspective, be it you're looking at from your priest, from your teacher, etc., we're trying to find physical solutions to spiritual issues. And that is why we are being sent to ourselves, because it's within you, it's in your spirit. Most of the answers we look for from other people, you already have the answers for, or the questions, we already have them within us. Now, when we speak about meditation and when you speak about, we're so much more similar than how we are different. And I am Zulu by native language. In actual fact, my paternal surname is Zulu. In ancient Zulu culture, there's something we called ukukhothama, which is meditation. And the beauty of what the West has done is put this into context where you can go through guided meditation and help yourself to calm down. Because the thing is, life is not always going to be calm. Life is not going to be everything you want it to be, but you need to find ways to center yourself in the midst of the chaos. So I do love meditation. I remember one time we had a conversation with another friend of mine about meditation, and she said something so funny but profound. She said, sitting on the toilet, that pure moment on your own is meditation.
Mm,
Some people drum to meditate. Some
mm,
people go into quiet silence. Some people dance. Uh, we shouldn't program ourselves to believing that it is only a particular way that
mm,
you can connect with spirit or you can calm yourself. I say, listen to what your spirit dances to.
mm.
That's
Yeah.
why in our practice of umgoma means the one that wakens to the drum. When those drum beats
Mm.
move you and they take you to a trance state, that is meditation.
Wow.
When you are what we call ugida, our spiritual dancers or African traditional dances, that is a way to connect with spirits. That's
Mm,
meditation because you let go of what's holding you, your mental cages, and you're like, just
mm,
take me
mm,
wherever you want to take me. And that
mm,
is the beauty of it. I say meditation shouldn't be constrained to a particular way, or
mm.
conformation. I'm a non-conformist. There are
Yes.
days where I can sit in my bathtub and just listen to my own voice and listen to my own thoughts. And it takes me to where I need to go. There are days where I
Mm,
just want to sing, where I just want to watch flowers or listen to my son laughing. That's
mm.
meditation. It's a way of easing your mind to being.
Yes. Wow. That was profound because I look at
So those
meditation.
are that's what I'm utilizing currently. I'm using everything I have around me.
Yes.
Music, church music, gospel music, love songs, crazy beats, reggae music. I'm doing everything to keep my energy light and happy.
That's what meditation is, though, right? It's where we are using everything around us. And I'm like really teaching about that. I'm teaching people how to enter into what I call the flow state. The flow state is just basically feeling love operate within. When you spell out the word flow, it's feeling love operate within.
Mhm.
So when you
I
are
love that. Feeling love operating within.
feeling
Flow
love
with
operating
spirit.
within.
I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
flow. So when you enter into that flow state, feeling love operate within, you are entering into what you call when you take the word entrance, if you split it apart, it says in trance. And so you
Mm.
wow, so when you enter into the flow state, you are in trance, you are entering in. And so we have to let go, as you said. This is where we let go, because we can enter into meditation with the things around us, and that's the flow. It's being able to go another direction without without feeling like you are changing something. You know what I'm saying? And it's like going in a different direction without feeling like you've made
I
some type
hear
of
you
drastic
are.
change.
At the psychological change there is we're fearful. So when you're fearful, you build walls in your mind of things that sometimes are not as massive as you think they are. And the beauty of, like you're saying, of flowing. For me,
Mm,
spirituality is about surrendering. When you surrender, when you let go and you flow with life and not against the resistance, that's where you start pulling more towards yourself. So I
mm,
love that when you put it in that sense.
yeah. What do you see the difference from the way spirituality, is being handled, and the difference of spirituality from east to west, from where you are, and when you look over here and look at spirituality, what is the difference from how it's being taught, how it's being received, how it's being spread it? What is that? Tell me the difference between here and there and what you see.
What I can say, Marcus, just from our observation where spirituality is concerned, now let's look where we are right now. We are going through what I would call a fourth industrial revolution. We're becoming one. The more things change, I would like to say the more they stay the same. But we're getting to a point of globalization. As it is, you're in the USA, I'm in South Africa, and we're speaking spirit. So it
Mm,
means that there's commonality somewhere. Somewhere, somehow, it's calling for unity. Now let's
mm,
go back. How is it being done currently? You know, I don't believe there's ever been a time where spirituality has become such a focus as it is right now. We have self-help books. We're having a conversation about spirit. It tells you that definitely there's a need for it.
Mm.
People are trying to find connection. We grow up programmed to say, this is the way I want to live, this is the life I want to live. And people are going through deprogramming. Something says, but this doesn't quite make sense to me. And people will start feeling those misalignments manifest into the physical. Now, when we look at how it's handled between the different corners of the globe, I say there's more. I still say that we are so similar and yet so different, because if you look at the teachings of Buddha, or Buddhism, of Christianity, of Hinduism, there's commonality there. When we speak about love, when we speak about light, when we speak about a healing, there's a lot of commonality there, opposed to contradiction. For me, where we are struggling to find the balance is, how do we commercialize it? Because it does become commercialized. I mean, in our side, the initiation's not free; it's paid for. And now I'm speaking about Ubungoma initiation and the awakening itself. Most people go through some terrible experiences. Be it they lose their family, they just go off in life. Things happen. Be it they get sick. There's always a trigger that spirit says, now it's time for me to remind you who you are. And also in my workspace, my Instagram handle is Goddess Without Borders, because spirit said to me, you're not going to just work here within your own country. Look at the African descendants all over the globe. There's a patient who's in Poland who doesn't know what's going on with her. There's a patient in Australia, in the UK, who has African roots. But because of not understanding the African awakening, if I put it that way, what happens if I start yawning continuously? What's the cause of that? Why? And in the Western, they call it, you have clairvoyant, clairaudient, the different type of, yes. And we haven't, and that's where we're still catching up now as the African side, where we are looking to document those, looking to have those experiences where, from the Western side, I could just start reading about what clairaudience means and get an understanding about what the awakening means. But we're still at a point where we need to create alignment, if I can use for lack of a better word, create alignment from understanding our African awakening and how to handle it, and also in the Western context as well, how to handle such. I do see from the Western side, it is more commercialized, it is more acceptable. On our side, I won't lie to you, people are still struggling to understand spirituality, because we are also a very religious group. And there is still the I can say the effects or the footprint of our past as a country that has come from apartheid and was moved away from practicing our indigenous ways and forced into only a particular religion. So people are still held up on those walls where, should I pick one over the other? Is it okay for me to be connected to my indigenous roots? Does it not then mean I am against Christianity per se? There's a lot of push and pull syndrome in that regard.
Absolutely right. There's like a divide here in the West when it comes to spiritualism and religion. And there's a clear divide, a clear wall, like Donald Trump wants to put up a wall. This is like a clear wall, and religion and spirituality go, because this country, America, is founded on Judeo-Christian values and beliefs. And so, we're just now coming into this awakening. The West is coming into this awakening of spirituality, and more so in the form of the self, in the form of looking at self, in the form of using self to heal self. Therefore, we make a better world. We heal the world through healing self, because the outside world is just a reflection of what we perceive. So we have to know that. And so what we're going through over here in the West and how we're handling spirituality, I believe it has it's missing something closely connected to the truth of what spirituality is, or what true spirituality is. And to me, true spirituality is like what you said, inner strength, that inner strength. And so I always call myself a guide. You know, I'm a meditations guide, because I believe a
Mm,
guide is different from a leader.
mhm,
I'm not a leader. I'm a guide. And a guide is like
mm,
when you're walking with a blind person, you have to walk side by side with them, with a blind person. You have to guide a blind person by walking side by side with them, you know, to get them to where they need to go. You can't
mm, mm,
lead them from the front and
mm.
expect them to get there, and you know you don't know what's going on because you're leading from the front. Something could be happening behind. My point in all of that is saying this: spirituality is, you know, when I look at it, it's missing that connection to the true livelihood of spirituality, which is not looking for a someone to get you to that higher state of mind or that higher state of consciousness. Now we got coaches like yourself,
Mhm,
you
mhm.
got guides like myself. We are needed. We are needed. But I always look at people and I tell them, I say the best guide or the best coach or the best teacher you got is yourself. And so there is a lot
I
of what
love that. I
you,
absolutely love that.
you said something about it being, you know, how do we make it commercial? I think that there's too much commercialism in it over here in the West. And people are starting to get into it, and they're not connecting to the truth of it because it's becoming so
Mm, mm.
commercialized. It's gotten so commercial over here that people is just seeing a business opportunity. Is that, let me, is that what you're seeing over there? Are you seeing
Oh,
that?
absolutely. Absolutely. You have said a mouthful, Marcus, and it is exactly what I always try and teach to say, I am merely your facilitator. I'm merely connecting you with your guides, with who you are. The rest is up to you. Unfortunately, where now I'm going to go back to where I've come from, and I can only relate it to Ubungoma. Um,
Mhm.
we have something which is termed initiation schools, amapeso, where people believe that to find the true essence of their shamanism, they need to go into these initiation schools, and they end up worshiping their leaders, and things are done as in a program, like how you would go to university and it's structured and this and it's not flowing. When we speak about spirit, it's about flow. It's
Mhm.
about finding yourself. It's about empowering you to utilize. You know, when I speak, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back a little. I say, no, for us to move to a point of transformation, and I see it here a lot, and for me, that's a painful area. For
Mhm.
us to move forward, we need to understand our ancestral wounds so that we
Mhm.
may be able to understand what we need to heal. But we need to be present to also understand where we're going. Now, here we are where there's rapid change occurring. And when you speak about commercialization, a lot of people are going through fear and desperation, and it's causing for them to seek solutions all over the place. And the fear with that in this field, as coaches, as mentors, is how do you lead side by side? Because it then becomes a business opportunity. I see a lot of people who come into spirituality broken, trying to find that, trying to find a guide, and they end up being led. They end up being bullied into saying, this is the solution. And it's
Wow.
not about leading self, because awakening is, you know, I get people who say, I dreamed of myself walking with myself elsewhere or etc., whatever it is. It means you're awakening to who you are, but
Mhm.
you cannot awaken to who you are if I am pushing you in a direction. I always say when spirit is ready, when your spirit is ready to meet yourself, you will meet yourself.
Mm. Wow.
And it's very
Can you repeat
necessary.
that? Can you repeat that?
When your
I need.
spirit is ready to meet yourself, you will meet self. This
Oh.
journey is about going back to yourself. And I am an absolute advocate for taking accountability in your healing, in your journey, because I believe that when you can see your own power, your own divinity, you've awakened to yourself. The people, especially in our past, I see it in our generations, in our great grandmothers, in our grandmothers, in our fathers, yeah, and our mothers, who still believe that if they're looking for some of the most simplest answers, they need to go to someone like me, who's a sangoma, to divine, whether through bones, through water. And you find that, and it hurts. And I'll be like, you realize that you've got the power within you.
Mm-hmm.
The people who have visions, because we work a lot with dreams, and say, Gogo, that's what we refer to. And when you call me Gogo, it doesn't mean, Gogo means old lady, a granny. It's not because they're referring to me as an old woman. It's merely a respectful way to say we recognize that you work with an ancient soul.
Yes.
And you find that people have solutions to their problems, but because they don't believe in themselves, because they have not broken those walls of putting someone else on a higher pedestal, then they come to you seeking those answers. And I always say, I want you to first reflect on what's going on, reflect on what you're seeing. What is your subconscious trying to tell you? That's why we receive spiritual messages through our dreams, because your subconscious is trying to awaken you to what you already know.
Wow. This is awesome. This is going by far way better than I already expected. And the conversation is so good. So I just want to keep this like energy up. And you have like over in Africa, you are what we say again, you a certified spiritual holistic life coach. But like, what are some ways, even though you're in Africa and I'm in America, I don't, like you said, there's some commonality here between us too. So I don't think that what you speak doesn't work here. It definitely works here because we're speaking spirit. We're not speaking geographical locations. So
knows no geography, none whatsoever. Spirit flows, like you said.
yes, spirit flows.
Spirit looks for light. Spirit seeks to love. Spirit seeks to ignite beauty, to ignite all things that are just great. I can't even go into, I don't know what words to use. And I want to just add something. I'm sorry about that.
No, okay.
You know, we've come from a place where we've been led by fear. We've been led by intimidation. And if you look at the change in spirit and just around us, spirit keeps saying we need to go back to a place of compassion. And compassion means that you're able to heal yourself. I've gone to a point, I think, for the past year where I will send people back and say, you need to do this and that for yourself. You need to run that path for yourself. You need to pray, because the power is within you. But the more you send it out, you don't connect with yourself.
Wow. That was deep. The more you send it out, you don't connect with yourself. That was powerful. And you said something that was basically going to answer my question, which was how do we practice, a more holistic approach to our spirituality? And you kind of answered that, but still I'm going to ask it, but I'm going to ask it a different way. How do we embrace our spirituality in the crisis, in these crises, because people are running away from their spiritual truths that they used to practice, that they practice. People are running to these subjects, that they think, all kinds of books and all kinds of studies, and they're basically running from themselves, and they think that some man has the answer and some doctor has the answer, some health organization has the answer. When it comes to our spiritual, mental, and emotional health, give us a more holistic idea of what that looks like, what that means in the setting of COVID crisis.
I say spirit meets you with what you have, where you are. And when we, in times of fear, in times of destruction, like how we're going, what's happening right now, we tend to try and get something physical. So we're all going crazy. Do we have enough food? Which is an obvious fear. Do I have enough? And everyone is in they're in panic state. But I always say that spirit meets you where you are with what you have. And we're literally going to a point where we're walking by faith. I say to my patients sometimes, what if, I mean, the way we are rapidly growing as a country, there are developments, there are companies, we're getting to a place where we had so much indigenous land. Now we've got less space, it's living spaces, it's businesses. What happens when we run out of herbs, when we don't have spaces to plant? What do you use then? It's your spirit. You go back to your faith.
I just want to
And right
say,
now, that's exactly what we're doing. It's calling for us to say, what is your faith? That's why I said, regardless of what faith you come from, that's where literally, that's where we are all being drawn to. Is your faith within a church, that physical structure, or is it within you? If it is within you, regardless of where you are, we are all pulling towards that to say, my faith is going to guide me through this difficult time. Because at this point, everyone is in it's a panic mode. It's a state of the unknown. We don't know how long the shutdown is going to last. When is the cure going to be found? And there's so many insecurities. How is the economy going to recover from all of this? And we don't have definite answers. There are absolutely no definite answers. It's what you speak about when you're saying right now, it's about flowing. If I have enough to share with my neighbor, let me do that. If I've got a good word to share online, let me do that. It's us finding the light within ourselves and sharing it with as many people as possible.
Wow. Wow. That was so good. So sound and profoundly good. Well, Nomthandazo, or Go-Go. I'll call you Go-Go. That sounds easy. Go-Go. Go-Go.
Go-Go is fine. Call me Go-Go.
Go-Go is fine. From Africa to America, where do you see, I want to say Black people, but I don't want to say Black people. I want to make this about, the spirit. I want to make this about spirit. So how do you feel right now? What direction do you feel we are going into right now as far as spiritual age? What age do you believe we are going into as a people?
I definitely believe that as a people, we are moving closely to a dimension that speaks to self, to a dimension. If you look at it right now, a lot of, when you speak about commercialization and false, et cetera, all that is happening in our spiritual sphere is collapsing.
Right.
We're being called to a place of oneness. We're being called to a place of unity. And I think that's what Spirit is asking for more than anything else. A lot of people have taken advantage of this awakening, and it has been about themselves. I cry about that from our African side, where a lot of people have lost faith in Ubungoma, our indigenous healing ways and prophets, etc., because of how commercialized it has become, because of how ruthless it has become. And I say, Spirit is leading us away from the physical, and it says what you're searching for is in spirit. Come back to self. So if it means you light your candle and you say your prayer to whoever you believe is your guide, and it's so small, simplest of things where, the people, when we speak about shrines in Africa, it's a basic, we call it Indumba. It's a holy space, basically. Usually you build a house. The people that I know from working with them have been caught up with that for years and leave. Their lives are falling apart because they have not done some ancestral ritual. They have not slaughtered a goat. They have not built a shrine. And I say, Spirit seeks to live within you first. When you have accepted Spirit within you, before you can build a shrine, before you can go slaughter and do all these outward things, it starts within you.
Wow.
And what if you do all those things and you still don't find peace within you? Because this journey about spirit is not to create enrichment. There are people that believe that if I go the spiritual route, my life will then be magical. I'll have no problems. Everything will just fall into place. There's no such. Spirit is there to remind you, even in the midst of the most challenging times that you'll have, you're able to see the grace of God within that.
Nice.
That for
That
me
is
is
nice.
what the essence of spirituality is. It's when I'm able to see the lessons that my hard times have taught me. When that person that has hurt me the most have tried to break me, but I see, and it's not because I say that lessons should only come through pain, but I see the lesson in that. I see the beauty in my scars.
Mm. That's what
When
you
I'm not
call a
walking
holistic
around
approach.
wounded and
Mm-hmm.
only looking at that, for me is what alignment is about. That for me is spiritual growth. That's transformation. That's self mastery. And I think that is where spirit is pulling us all, because as a people, and I'm going to say this, as Black people, we are wounded.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those wounds, you still see them in how we've been raised as generations. You see them in the modern families. And the more we go back to healing ourselves and confronting our wounds and speaking about it, is the more we're able to look at our wounds as beautiful scars and grow from there, opposed to where we still, feeling like we're victims and hating each other, because it's a hate that pulls us aside. It's a hate that's dividing us opposed to bringing us together.
Wow. 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 We got to come back and fulfill our duty to the people, to our people, to the pleasures and to the minds of those listening right now. We're going to come back and we're going to go a little bit more, just basically expound more on what we need to do as Black people, even. And as far as spirituality goes, taking the holistic approach during this COVID-19 crisis. Hey guys, I'd like to stop for this small commercial break to say thank you for your continual listenership. Thank you for your subscription and thank you for downloading the podcast. We are appreciative of your loyalty to listen to the show. With that being said, we'd like to thank you by offering those of you who are in the nearby area of St. Petersburg, Florida, Clearwater, Tampa area to join me and the one and only Lola Benet, founder of LBL Holistic Wellness Practitioners, and she will be joining me at St. Petersburg College July 9th and July 10th. So be there. We want to offer you in person what we bring to you on the platform of the podcast show. And this is going to increase your life more. It's going to add more value to your life. You're going to get so much from it that you won't even understand why you deserve it. So join us, and you can do that by going to eventbrite.com and looking for Manifest Health Wellness Seminars. Let me say that again. Manifest Health Wellness Seminars at eventbrite.com. We can't wait to see you. We thank you for joining us in the near future. We'll catch you on the other side. Let's continue on with our guest for the show. You'll see the wounds. You can still see the wounds because of something I talked about earlier, religion, spiritual and religion. And the thing is this, Gogo, we as Black people, we really want and we really know deep down inside, we know the actual truth, especially Black Americans, because we've been taken from a place where we were indigenous to, and we had roots in our spirituality, and it still runs in our blood. But the fact is that we've been basically brainwashed. And so, yes, you can still see the hurt, you can still see the pain. And I would say this, you can still see the wounds from a time where we were getting beat, but we were getting the Jesus beat into us. You know what I'm saying? We were getting Christianity beat into us, literally whipped into us. And so we lost our way, we lost ourselves. And so I feel like it's my job. I like to call myself emoji, EMOG. It means the enlightened messenger of God. And
Yes.
I believe that I am an enlightened messenger of God, here to bring people, here to bring black people the truth. I believe that some odd reason we're tapped into a divine source, something deeper than any other race on this planet. And this is not to put down other races, but I believe that we have a different uh source and deeper source that we are connected to. You know what I'm saying? And so now we have to look at how do we as a people begin the healing process as a holistic practice or holistic teacher, or holistic life coach. Speak to black people over here. Some things that y'all are doing over there to stay connected to the true source of yourself, your family, and those that you love around you.
True, true. Absolutely, absolutely. I feel you there when you say you're a messenger of God. I believe that our roles as those that are enlightened, or we call it in African as a mangoma. I say wherever you are, whether you are in healing through ubungoma, through church, whatever it is, we're called to bring people back to God. When you return to God, you're returning to a greater divine energy that's beyond you. We're not supposed to be calling people back to be dependent on us as healers. It's a universal spirit that exists in all places, that exists to love, to heal. But it also does exist even when you're in pure darkness, just to remind you of the grace of God.
Wow. Wow.
For me, that's what I believe my calling is. It's to showcase the grace of God.
Absolutely. Wow. You're keeping this conversation very warm and very, very inviting for those who may not understand spiritualism or spirituality. Um, and this is making a lot of people, because it's making me feel like this. It's opening me up to a newer modality to work on myself or heal.
A
And
lot. If there's something I could add there, Marcus, when you speak about African children and the pains that we feel, and how religion was, it's the truth. We can read about the bush, but the truth is religion was whipped into us. We were enslaved. We were moved from who we truly are to something that is why so many of us are somehow, we find ourselves in misalignment. I call it spiritual delusion. It's because of that. African children are extremely gifted. We are extremely spiritually gifted. The people that dream of events that happen as they are. And it's not about because you're a shaman, because you're a priest, because you have been put on a pedestal. It is purely because we've always walked with spirit. African
yes.
people are very spiritual people. And when we separate ourselves from spirit, that's how we end up in dis-ease.
Oh, I love that, because you use it the same way I use it. Dis-ease, not disease,
Yeah,
dis-ease.
it's dis-ease. It's because we've been separated from ourselves, from spirit. We've been forced to move away from the essence of who we are. And I believe for me, that is true transformation. When you are tapped into spirit, it's not about enriching yourself. It's about alignment. So when I understand the secrets, or understand the wisdom that was shared with my ancestors, and understand how to presently use it in this day and age, and also move forward with it. I say spirit uses everything around you, each and everything around you, to bring you, to teach you, to bring you knowledge. This right here is spirit engagement. This was a line. We had nothing to do with it. Spirit wanted this conversation to happen.
Yes, it did.
And it's when we can tap into those gifts, when we're not ashamed of it. I make an example. I come from a very, very religious family, and it was very difficult for them to even accept me going into initiation. There are sounds that people who are called make. I'm not making them right now, but in the presence of spirit, some people we roar. Like how lions roar, or you
Yeah.
see them yawning, or they feel an intense energy in their bodies. And if you don't know how to translate that, people might say, I think maybe, what are you having, an anxiety attack? Is this are these demons? And why do you burp so much? And I say, if we were taught earlier on to flow, like you say, we would be so much more further as an African people. Because we would understand this is spirit, this is who we are. If you go to Black churches, they behave very differently to white Christianity. When you see them screaming and acting all kind of funny, that is spirit. Spirit has arrived.
Right. Yep.
And we were taught to conform. You need to sit straight. Don't do those dances that you do. Don't move your hands up and down. Sit straight. But as an African people, when we dance, we connect into the spirit realm.
Right. Yes. And
when we stomp our feet, when we sing, that is moving that veil, that spiritual veil that is between those realms, the physical and the non-physical. You move it through who you are.
Wow. That is so good. That is so good, because I'm looking at churches today over here in America even, and when I see churches today, Black churches, I mean, and the way, and this is not just today, this was when I was a child. When I was a kid, I used to see, like you said, these Black people in the church, these churchgoers, they were dancing, they were jumping out of the seats, they were all over the place. I was like, wow. And that gave me an indication that, yeah, you're right, that is spirit. Only spirit can move you like that. And that should be a testament to Black people here in the West, that when you see Black people acting like that, let that be a sign that is a connection to our true self. Let that be a sign that
exactly it. And I've stopped being apologetic about that. I used to do that when I do presentations in corporate, and I'll hear myself going, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm not rude. I'm not burping. I'm really not sure what's going on with me, but this thing just comes. And I got to, that for me, and people, before, it used to make me cry because I saw it as a curse. I say, why do I behave so outward? What is this? But the moment I embraced it and I said, this is spirit. And I'm grateful for what this happens, because spirit is saying to me, open your eyes, open your spiritual eyes, be alert. And I take that in. And I flow, and I no longer apologize, because I've connected with who I am. I flow. When I roar, it's because spirit has arrived. So I need to acknowledge that spirit is here and say, Spirit, speak to me.
Wow. This is awesome.
And that's, I feel that's where we need to be going. We need to be allowing our children. I deal with a lot of patients that have young children that they will find wearing ancestral cloths. They go to their altars, they start praying and say, this is so scary. I don't know why this child is doing this. And I say, let them be. Those are children of spirit.
Yes.
Let them be, because the more you try and house them, the more you're fighting the flow. You're fighting against the flow of who they are. Let them be.
Yes.
A spirit says the child must pray with candles, and you've never taught that child to do that, and they are doing of light. These are light workers. They are healing. Leave them. And I feel that's where spirit is calling us to be ourselves, because in our true essence, we are a powerful people. Africans are very powerful, and their power lies in spirit. That's my honest belief. Take me anywhere, I'll tell you that. My power is in spirit. The moment I connect with spirit, I move mountains.
Yes.
In my field as an engineer that I've trained for, I can tell you things that I need to do that I only see in spirit. And that's the power of connecting to spirit.
That's absolutely right, because as a spiritual healer, a guide, a meditations teacher over here, I do some of the same things where I tell people, one of my services that I offer people is childhood trauma, where we go back to the child where the trauma started, and we go and open you up to see yourself as a child, and as an adult you heal that child now with love. So when you come out of that meditation, that your whole self is healed now, and you're going to still have memories that you can go back to, but those memories won't bog you down or hold you down or keep you from moving forward. And so one of the things I tell people all the time is go back to the child. Look at the child. See what the child does, because the child is the most innocent vessel, pure spirit that we have on this planet. So I always tell people, let the kid in you play. Let the kid in you be free. Let that kid out. I enjoy.
They're not conditioned. Children are not conditioned as yet. They just
Right.
do. They feel. They are
Yes.
vessels. They don't
Yes.
question. They
Absolutely
just
right.
go. They just go with where spirit, and That's where sometimes we get challenged, where we now have been programmed to
Hmm.
behave in particular ways, to think in particular ways, and when spirit wants to lead us in the direction of spirit, we question. So we keep resisting, but this doesn't make sense because I've been taught of something different.
Right. Right.
But
No,
spirit will never mislead you. I say spirit does not mislead you. Flow with spirit. As long as it is spirit of light, as long as it is love, it is of truth, you'll
yes.
never go wrong. Follow
Yes.
it.
Yes, spirit definitely will never mislead you. And I like to think of it like when you see that child moving about, you said something that was very deep. You said that a child is not conditioned, they just flow. And I watched my youngest son do that same thing every single day, where he's just flowing. He's just going where he's flowing. He's flowing and going at the same time, but he's going with flow. He's not being drugged to do anything. He's not being asked to do anything. Whatever is on his plate, on his mind, in his head or in his heart, it's going to come out. It's going to express itself because it's so pure that it doesn't have any constraint on it. It doesn't have any condition to it. It doesn't have any structure around it. So he's just a child flowing. And so I look at my children and I flow with my children because they understand spiritually, what they're doing. The spirit in them understands that they're just being a child. But we
Yes.
all have the child within us that we ought to go back and look at, and do more from. I started to do something. Instead of teaching the meditation, I started to transition myself into becoming the living meditation. And I said,
I love that.
you know what I'm
I
saying?
love that.
So I said,
I love that.
the living meditation is allowing that child to be free, and,
Love it.
and to be fulfilled. So the living meditation.
See what you've done. See what you've done.
Oh, okay. I see it. I see it. Yes.
That is,
Bring it
I
out.
love what you're saying, Marcus.
That
Absolutely,
is,
because when I speak about the living altar, that is exactly what I talk about. I say, stop trying to get all the physicals to build an altar. Be that living altar yourself, so that
mm,
you draw spirit to you.
mm.
Wherever you are, I say, I carry the African spirit with me, wherever I am and
I
whatever I
love
do.
that. I
I
love that
carry
what you
it.
just did. I love what you just did because it definitely took me to an indigenous place. Oh,
So when I used to do this, and I would have to apologize, but now I understand when this is happening, it's because Spirit's saying, I'm here. I
spirit is
agree with you.
speaking. Spirit is speaking.
Spirit is speaking. I say, let it speak. Let Spirit do what it wants to do so that we can heal as an African people. We can bring back our people to
Yeah.
godliness.
Yes.
We're never meant
Yes. Yes.
to bowing down to other people. We're meant to be calling people to godliness. And I
Yes.
say this
Come on
when
now.
and the sad thing is when we were brought into Christianity was to see godliness, unfortunately, through a portrait of a white man.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when I see messiahs, especially in Africa, we have someone called Shembe, and I say God was not calling us to the prophet Shembe, who's believed to have been to save the Zulu nation. He was showing godliness through a black man that can let his hair grow and say, your hair is beautiful, there's power in your hair, your skin is beautiful, there's power, and you let that manifest into whatever it is that the life that you're creating for yourself.
Hmm.
Because there's power when you can see God in yourself, when you can understand that in the true essence of who I am, there is strength. I don't need to go curl my hair or straighten my hair or bleach my skin. In the essence of being black, there's
Hmm.
power.
Mm. Wow. Whew. This
So
is
now don't apologize. Now, some days I yawn, some days I start getting teary, some days I roar and I say, well, it is because I am who I am.
I am who I am, and I am God. And God cannot be put in no box where God, you see, that's God speaking. See, God is not in a box. You cannot say oh, God looks like this, and you gotta go to God, you gotta reach God here. No, 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 no. God is right here where I am. I
Oh my God. Marcus,
God
what
is
have
right
you
here where
done?
I don't open it up. Open it up, open it up. I'm getting into that
Oh.
tribal, I'm getting into that tribal spirit, that essence, that nature.
You're definitely reaching down to the tribal spirit right now. That is Uzulu now saying, I'm here.
Yes, 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 yes. And we scream and shout, amen over here. But the thing is, I don't have to shout, amen. I could just say, hey, I am, because that is so beautiful to behold. I am. I am. You are where you are, who you are, because you are with God. I'm with God. I'm God, and I'm
God,
one
we
with that
understand that.
essence. I am one with that. So now we begin to believe, and our mindset begin to change so that we can
Yeah.
embrace our spirituality in times of crisis.
I embrace your Christ, embrace who you are. Sorry, you said embrace your
Yeah,
crisis.
embrace your spirituality.
Embrace your spirituality. I took a term a few years ago. You know how people say OMG, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I say OMD. Lozi means spirit or living spirit. So I say OMD, oh my Lozi.
Oh my, those. Oh wow, I like it.
It is me saying I understand that before me, others existed so that I could exist. And I acknowledge their contribution to who I am as I move forward.
Right. This is beautiful. I'm just, your soul is, oh God. Woo! Yes.
Marcos.
Having church. Having church on there. We having church. Spiritual church. Spiritual church. Well, go. I'm gonna start to ask you these 3 questions that I like to ask every guest at the end of the show. And I just want to just speak to you and hear you come back with something that's gonna help people. Keep talking, girl. Keep talking. Don't let me stop you. Don't let me stop you. Oh God, that feels good.
Promise you, there's an African child somewhere in the globe that does this, that does exactly what I am doing and has no idea what is going on with them.
But what is happening to me is that it's reverberating with my soul. It's reverberating with my soul. It's making me feel, it's making me vibrate. I can hear, I can feel what you're doing within myself. I can feel that.
Of course.
Oh my goodness, that's strong. Oh God, that's strong. Come on with it, girl. Come on with it.
I wish I had control over it. I don't, I have no timetable. I can't say when it will start and stop. And that's it.
Yeah.
And for me, the most astonishing thing is how, as Africans, especially in this new age, I grew up very Christian in a group that didn't even understand this
Yep.
happening to me.
Same here.
How
Yep.
do you now walk around having to apologize for who you are or having to feel bad and cry about this? And I say, no. Now I've gotten to a place where when spirit comes, I let spirit do what it wants to do. We've been
Embrace
conditioned
it.
that when I walk, because now I'm educated, if I walk into corporate and I sound like this, oh my God, what is she doing? And we don't know, and everyone panics. I say, no. We are in Africa. We are Africans. We should understand African spirituality. How does spirit speak to their children?
Wow.
How can we be in Africa and not know how
Wow.
spirit communicates with their own children on their own soil? I shouldn't be
Wow.
apologetic.
I should not go into a corporate organization and they say speak English here. No, you should be speaking my language. You know what I'm saying?
So
Oh
those are all the
my.
challenges we face, but nonetheless, it's growth. For me, I say it's purely growth.
You know, you said something. Those are the challenges we face. But the thing is, you and I and others that are doing this work, we are bringing Black people, we are bringing the African people back to this truth, to the spirituality of God, who we are.
Definitely.
You know, and so I'm going to praise you to continue to keep doing your work and continue to embrace your spirituality, because I'm over here embracing mine, and my spirituality spirituality looks like bringing my people back to the truth, back to the form of who they are, to God, to the knowing of self, without all of those structures and those buildings around them, because that's what's killing us. That's what's taking us out. It is these constraints of religion, and I'm gonna just say it because this episode is called Embracing Our Spirituality. It is, it is these religions that are killing my people. And we gotta
It's
get
the
back to the
truth.
true source. We just gotta
Gotta
get
just
back.
be ourselves. So absolute truth. We've got to be who we are, and that's exactly what's happening. Everything that has been built is crumbling.
Mm,
We
mm,
are in the point where we're going back to ourselves, whether we like it or not. It
mm-hmm.
is crumbling. All
Yeah.
that was built to put us in boxes is falling apart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All
Wow.
those structures, they're dissipating into nothing. We are becoming who we truly are, and we need to continuously embrace that. That's what I say. Fight to embrace it, no matter what. Keep embracing who you are. Be
Embrace
in
it.
your true
Embrace
essence.
it.
Embrace it.
Yes. I love it.
Be
I
who you
love
are.
it. I love it.
Listen to your own voice. This is the time when we're sitting in our homes where we're hearing our own voices and the noise and the clutter that's been happening all around us. This is the time where you're on your own and you've got to listen to your own voice.
Yes, yes, yes. Right now, especially in that sums up that sums up the topic. Embracing your spirituality in COVID-19 crisis. So speak it, speak it. I'm loving
Embrace your
it.
voice.
Thank you,
My
Spirit.
voice roars like a lion. I have a song that I sing, which is again an Ngoma song.
Yeah,
Goes
you are a warrior. You are a warrior for sure. Your spirit is a
it goes
warrior.
"Ngonyama mina wongakhaliswa kwebhubesi," meaning I I am mighty. I roar like the lion. And for me, it
Mm,
always used to comfort me because I know how this roar used to make me cry. I say, no, I'm a warrior. I'm
mm.
mighty. I roar. Accept me. I roar. That's what
I
I
roar.
do.
I roar like a lion too. I'll tell that in a different aspect though. But I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there. But I will say, I just want to say thank you right now for coming on the show. I do want to ask you a few questions that I like to ask every
No
guest at
problem.
the end of the show. Let me ask you these three, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Number one is, what is driving you, Gogo, to be great?
Wow. What drives me? Whew, I like that question. Got me thinking there.
What drives you?
It's passion. I'm a passionate person. I'm passionate about healing.
Yes.
In every aspect. I say the people that you heal through speaking to them, through
Mm.
herbs, through whatever it is, and whatever modem that you heal in. I'm passionate about just healing.
Nice. I love it. I'm right there with you. I'm very passionate about healing. I love the work that I do. And I appreciate you for being one of the healers out here in the world. Next question I would like to ask is, who inspires you, Gogo? Who inspires you?
Children inspire me.
That's
I love children. They flow. They've got the biggest of hearts. They've got so much love to give.
so much.
They real. They real. I love spending time with children.
Yeah, they're authentic. They're very
Authentic.
authentic. They don't bite their tongue. They say what's in their heart and it comes out just like it they say it.
It is what it is. With
It is
children, you
what
don't
it
have to be
is.
thinking around.
No
It is what it
filters.
is.
All right,
Yes.
my last question is, what is your purpose in life?
Wow. I'm still trying to discover that. I believe each day it's still evolution. We
Mm-hmm.
grow, we change. But I always go back to my birth name, which means grace, my mother of grace.
Mm-hmm.
And through all my challenges, somehow I always see the grace of God.
Yes. You know
So for
something?
me, my purpose maybe is to live a life that that personifies God's grace.
Nice. I like that. That's a good answer. I have the word tattooed on my heart, grace. Grace is tattooed on my chest, right over my heart.
Mhm.
So I understand what it means to have grace and be, in that moment, in that flow with God, that continuum love. So
I think that's what we're needing right now, especially during this time, where people are in going through uncertainties in so many different spheres of their lives. And I say it is asking to use your eyes of grace. Find the grace in this challenging time. Let's always seek just to find the grace of God within it.
wow, this conversation was so good. We may have to do a part two, and I'm okay with that. So I want
Sounds
to say,
good. Sounds good.
Gogo, how can people find you on social media if you have any contacts where people can contact you?
I mostly work on Instagram, so my IG handle is goddess without borders, goddess underscore without underscore borders. And
Okay.
it's basically me prophesying upon myself to say, I will not have any borders. I work wherever spirit leads me.
Yes, yes, yes. Would you, for the audience, for the listening audience, do you mind saying something in your native tongue and then translate what you said? Something inspiring, some words of inspiration in your native tongue, and then translate it for us.
Okay. I love that. My native tongue, and Australia, I've been writing in my native tongue lately.
Mm,
Sinokufana ukuthi makuhluke, kodwa sonke siyafana. Unamandla ukuzilalela, unamandla ukuzithemba. Yeah.
wow.
So it basically means we are different, but so similar. Although we're different, there's so many similarities within us. And there's power in listening to yourself. There's power in loving yourself.
I want to say first of all, no, Namthandazo.
Yes.
I'm trying, but I just want to say, first of all, thank you. This is a moment where I do my emoji. It's a moment of gratitude. And I just like to say thank you for joining the show. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for being a part of this community collective where you are offering yourself up as a healer. Thank you for touching lives of the people that will be listening. Thank you for being who you are and accepting your spirituality, embracing your spirituality, your truth. Thank you for not apologizing. I just speak right now the grace and the goodness and the love of spirit in your ancestors, our ancestors, my ancestors, to surround you, to lead you, to guide you, to get you into the desired places you want to go, to get you around the world, and to get your message out there even furthermore. So I just want to just bestow that love and that honor and that gratitude over you, and speak life and speak success and prosperity and abundance and blessings and multiplication into your life, so that everywhere you go, everywhere you walk, nothing happens but expansion. Everything you do expands, it grows, it elevates, it's up to the next level. So I just want to say thank you.
Siyathokoza. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to join your platform. Blessings upon you and blessings upon your spirit. I believe it's all spirit aligned. So
you really did display embracing your spirituality on this show. You displayed it today. You put that on full display. So I am so thankful that you not only just you did the show, but you spoke from your true self. And I believe I had nothing to do with that. That was all spirit.
It was all spirit. It's never all me. I always say it's spirit. When spirit takes over, let them take over.
Let them take over. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. You know what it is. This is In Pursuit of Purpose Podcast, Season 2, Episode 8. And we are going to now see you on the other side. I love you. I love me. I love us. See you all in pursuit. Bye.
Keep well. Keep well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Wow. Did she just not put on display for you what it sounds like and what it feels like and what it means to embrace your spirituality? Well, thank you, Nomthandazo, for your support. Thank you for coming on to the show. I just want everyone listening to just understand that In Pursuit of Purpose podcast has a reason for being here, has a purpose for being here. It is to get in touch with you, with your soul, so that you become commissioned to live your purpose. I love you. I love me. I love us. And I will see you all, every last one of you, in pursuit. I'm out.